Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stew with JT Brew, NHL Around the Ice with JT and Toast. We're going to just talk a little bit about everything tonight, some gambling, some games on tonight. There's a ton of action on in the NHL. We've got some stuff we're keeping an eye on those, talking about playoff pushes in real life and in fantasy. Stick with us. We're going to have it all here for you. The Stew begins now. Thanks for joining us here on Total Apex Sports YouTube channel and also the Stew with JT Brew YouTube channel. I want to thank my co-host Bryan Toast Clark for joining me. Toast, this is a great time of year. Pumped up. We've got hockey coming in on the playoffs. We had NFL draft action, NCAA March Madness tournament starting. This is one of my absolute favorite times of the year.
This may be the best week of the year, and I know that we're huge NFL fans, so it's hard to kind of top the NFL draft or opening weekend of the NFL. But this, for as far as coming out and in the spring, JT, this is the best time of season at all. You got the Masters right around the corner. So we'll have hockey playoffs coming, but this week specifically, opening week of NCAA tournament, as well as we're deep into the hockey playoffs. This is another great time. So what better night to really have what I call our first live cast? We always do these live, but this is going to be the first night where we really don't have a plan. Well, we're just going to come in here and just talk about anything and everything we want. It's going to be like two guys really just kind of shooting around, shooting the shit, and just looking at live games, seeing what we actually may bet, talking about those games and those players as we actually look at those scores. So I'm pretty pumped just to kind of sit back, have a cocktail, chat with you for an hour.
Yeah, I absolutely love it, man. We're just post NFL Combine, which is one of my favorite things. NFL free agency has been wild. It's been crazy, especially for all the Bears fans out there, Steelers fans with Justin Fields and everything. Has been going crazy. Like you said, fantasy hockey. You're either in your fantasy hockey playoffs or you're getting ready to jump in there. We're starting to see, you know, the teams, the cream of the crop, rise to the top here in the NHL. Uh, it's getting wild, and then like I said, NCAA tournament. It's one of my absolute favorite times of the year. I love the first two rounds of the year. It's just so much excitement. It's always great when your teams are in. Illinois made it. We're both from just about 10 minutes away from the University of Illinois, fighting Illini in there with a shot, winning the Big Ten championship. So we're pumped about that. Everybody around our parts are fired up for the game. I've got my FAU sweatshirt on. Went to the Final Four
Nice.
last year. My sister and brother-in-law went there. My brother-in-law's in the Hall of Fame for the basketball team there, one of their all-time lead scorers. So that was a fantastic run. And then they ended up losing San Diego State, another place that I attended, the Aztecs, who I love, all in the same
We're getting you
region this
attend,
year.
yeah.
Illinois, FAU, San Diego State, all in the same region this year, and of course they all get matched for
Nice.
the top team, UConn. So it's going to be interesting. But let's jump in to some hockey talk here. I will let you know if you are interested in listening to our NCAA bet guide. We'll be doing this tomorrow night. I'm probably around 5:30 or 6, but we'll let you know. I'll post it on the X on Twitter. But we're going to be doing our favorite bets and our best bets for the NCAA tournament. Obviously, everybody loves to fill out a bracket, but if you want to get into the bet side of thing, what are some of the cool ones we like? Me and my our buddy Ben Dyer to jump on there. We're going to hope and talk Kevin Dyer, his brother, into jumping on with us as well as we're going to do that. But let's get in. Let's talk a little bit of the hockey action tonight. 26 teams going at it, 13 matchups. The first one that started today, Columbus Blue Jackets, Detroit Red Wings. We've been discussing the Red Wings all years. The Red Wings are my team. Talking about how they are a playoff team. This team, the Dylan Larkin injury has just murdered this team. They do not look the same. They are just on a terrible tear. They got down 2-0 at home in the first period to Columbus, the second worst team in the league. Everything in my bones told me not to bet anything on this game tonight with how bad they've been playing, so I stayed away from it. But Toast. We've been talking about all year. This is a playoff team, and right now they are out of the playoff hunt. They have now, as I'm gonna go back and look at the schedule. They've lost 7 of the last 8 in March.
Hmm.
So 7 of 8 in March, and now they're down 2-1 at home to Columbus. This team is absolutely falling apart without Dylan Larkin out there. Uh, can this team hold it together as we currently stand? I'm going to pull up the playoff schedule. I think they're one team out right now in the playoffs as they sit out of the wild card spot, the last spot. They're 1 point behind the Washington Capitals, who we have said is garbage all year. I can't believe the Capitals are
Yeah.
back in it, and they're also just 1 point ahead of the Islanders. Um, and then Buffalo, out of nowhere, has creeped up with 71 points. They're only 4 points back of the playoff spot. So we all of a sudden we've got a mix here at the end. It's gonna be a fight to the finish. I thought the Red Wings were going to get it for sure. I have lost confidence. What do you think about the Red Wings team right now?
I've lost confidence. I've said all along, JT, every single podcast we have, don't worry, they're a playoff team. This is a playoff team. Not only has the Larkin injury, really, really hurt this team and it come at a really bad time, but let's just say this: Alex Lyon, they ran the wheels off him. I mean, so he has been phenomenal for them all year, but he's already started twice as many games as he's ever started in his career, and now you can kind of see that he's fell off a cliff. So not only are they actually without their quote unquote best player, their captain anyway, but now their goaltending's failing them down the end of the season. There's been some inner turmoil in the team as well. You can tell the frustration is actually building up. They're down 2-0 tonight. Looks like they just scored a goal, JT. So
Yeah,
it's
just got the
2-1. And
2-1.
we'll say Lucas Raymond. This is actually right now the sixth goal for Raymond in the last 4 games, or 4.25 games or whatnot. Man, he's coming on now. What a great fantasy piece for you and I in that dynasty league. Lucas Raymond's great, but um, I'm concerned. I'm concerned. I'm in trouble. I feel like I'm in trouble now. I would say that Washington, no, they're no good, right? They sold off. They're not trying to actually win, but yet they're still winning some games. I don't expect them to be there. The Islanders, they should be there, but again, they're
Mhm.
actually having a lot of similar issues right now. Again, the Islanders, they've really went more offensive this year. Their defense is actually starting to fail them as well. I know that I've always loved the fact they're giving up shots on goal all season long, but now it's actually starting to hurt them. And really, Sorokin hasn't played as well as I thought he would have down the stretch. And that change to Patrick Waugh to their head coach really hasn't paid the dividends. I think it will in the long run, but it hasn't actually did in the short term like I thought it actually would. And then look at Buffalo. Buffalo actually sells off Casey Middlestat. They actually sell off, um, um, well, anyway, Middlestat. They get back Bowen Byram as well. I think they're finally starting to get a little healthy. JT, they've been banged up all year. You got Tage Thompson, is actually playing pretty darn good. Jeff Skinner had a hat trick last night. Tuck's actually starting to come on. Dylan Cousins finally starting to actually go right now. Buffalo could sneak in. I kind of, if it's not the Wings, and I want the Wings to actually sneak in, I want Buffalo to actually be there. I kind of like Buffalo.
I do too. I kind of liked Buffalo. I'm liking to see them surge. I mean, they were just such a disappointment to start off the season. But going back briefly here to the Islanders, as we talk about it, they're down 3-0 already to Carolina. Carolina putting it to them. Seth Jarvis already 2 goals. Jake Gunsel, 2 assists. The guy they just traded for, he's already making a difference there in Carolina. So that's a
Yeah.
big one. It's going to get interesting. The East is getting really tough. 3-0 Carolina with them. The Detroit, just as I bash them, they come back. 2 goals, Raymond power play, assisted by Fabry and Kane, and then Moritz Sider, unassisted goal. And they've got
Yeah.
the Wings back to 2-2. If the Wings are going to turn around, this is the spot. They got to win this game at home against Columbus. I mean, they cannot keep this free for all going.
Yeah, JT, and what I'll say, the reason there may have been a table or two flipped over in that dressing room after the first period. If you go back and look at the shots on goal, they got outshot 20-6 in the first period at home, hosting the Blue Jackets. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Now would be the time to go ahead and well, when it was 2-1, it was time to live bet the Wings. But I wouldn't even done that. That's how shaky they've been of late. So I
That's
wonder
how
if
terrible
the
they've
game,
been.
yeah. I wonder if the sports book right now actually kind of knows that and kind of feels the same way. I'm curious to see. I'll check right now, JT. Why? Or maybe go ahead if you don't mind. Go ahead and check and see what the live bet is on the money line for the Red Wings. If we want to go ahead and get on the money line for the Red Wings, because I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the Hurricanes right now. You mentioned they're playing the Islanders. They're up 3-0 as well. And man, the trades that the Hurricanes actually made, they get Jake Gensel. They actually send away, Michael Bunting. They also get Evgeny Kuznetsov. When I was talking about last time on the podcast, go pick up Kuznetsov, and thinking, well, he's old, yeah. Basically Washington, you figured they're going in a different direction right now. And you didn't really think you'd get a whole lot of Kuznetsov. He's been awesome in the week and a half since they actually got him. So now Carolina, they're always great defensively. They always got really, really good goaltending as well. They got offensive firepower, man. They got an Andrei Svechnikov that's actually back with a Sebastian Aho, a Jake Gensel. You got Evgeny Kuznetsov, as I say, Martin Necas. Necas just gets a goal. Jarvis, who's actually got 2 goals tonight as well. Here's the thing that really chaps me right now. And again, it's gambling, right? But I put together, let's talk about the assist parlay we actually put together. You would think that Sebastian Aho would be on one of these assists, considering there's a primary and a secondary assist on every single goal tonight. Nope, he's not on there. It's somebody else. But you got Necas with Kuznetsov as the assist. You got Jarvis with 2 goals. You got Gensel with 2 assists. Carolina's humming right now. That may be the team in the East. I really, really, really like them. They're built for a long playoff run.
Yeah, looking good right now. The odds on the Red Wings, if you could have got them up 2-0, they're actually -160 now money line to win this game. Rangers down 1-0 the Jets. They're actually +170 now, down a goal early at home against the Jets. Bruins currently up 2-0. Flyers out to a 2-0 lead on the Maple Leafs. So if you love the Leafs, plus
Mm-hmm.
340 right now on the money line for the Leafs. That might be a nice little 2-team parlay you can put together. Penguins Devils tied currently at 1 apiece in that game. And then a game that I put in our article today. If you took a look at it on Total Apex Sports Bets, Avalanche and the Blues, they're currently just underway, 5 minutes in, 0-0 in that one. So we'll throw a little betting action there for people that if they're looking to
Yep.
get maybe a live bet in. So we got a couple bets here. I had the Avalanche money line. Hale McCarr over 2.5 shots on goal, and Nathan
Mm-hmm.
McKinnon over an assist plus 210. I absolutely love this bet.
That's nice. That's
McKinnon has been on fire lately. McCarr is averaging nearly 4 shots a goal on game against the Blues this year. So he's gotten a lot of shots. He's had 3, 4, and 5 goals in 3 games against the Blues this year. So I like the shot attempts there for him. And then they've just been on fire. So I jumped on them on the money line. That's a plus 210. It's 0-0 right now. So you could still probably jump in and get a few of those bets in there if you like. Toast. I'll talk about another one I liked, and then you'll throw me in your Edmonton bet that are going on later tonight. So
sure.
go ahead, write these down if you guys want to jump in on these bets with us. A little 3-pick parlay in the Vancouver Buffalo Sabres game. Sabres looked great last night, 6-2 win over the Kraken. So I'm jumping in on them in this one. I'm going over goal 6. Now Canucks have been really good on defense, but these teams have both been scoring of late here. So I'm going over 6 total goals in this game. I've got the Canucks over 2.5 team goals. I can see this game being a 4-3, 4-2 game, somewhere in that range. So I've got the Canucks over 2.5 team goals, total over 6. And I got
Mm-hmm.
JT Miller with over an assist in this one. Right now, that is a 3-pick parlay is at plus 182. So if you get a chance, you can put that one together. Toast, what do you think about that? I just think Buffalo's starting to score a little bit, even though Vancouver's on a little bit of a low offensively. It's only because they've been so good this year. Even if you look at their stats, it's not like they're not playing well on offense. They just were playing lights out forever. I think they put some goals up tonight. Backup goalie in goal for Vancouver. I think they're going to feel the need to put a little more pressure on offensively. I've got the over 6 goals. I feel like this game seems like a 4-3 game to me. And even if it's 4-2, you get the push on the goal. So I took Canucks over 2.5, thinking they could get 3 to 4 goals, 6 goals total. JT Miller over an assist. What do you think about that?
Yeah, JT, I'm going to get on that game. Now you've actually mentioned that as well, and I love the over. And I probably will go ahead and do the ultimate over 5.5. Just go ahead and just buy a little bit there and go ahead and get it maybe like 140 minus 140. That has overwritten all over it. The Smith, who's actually stepping in for Demko for Vancouver, has been shaky at best the last 3 or 4
Mm-hmm.
starts, and they're really going to miss Demko. He's out a couple weeks here. They're hoping he can be back the end of next week. That really stinks for me in my fantasy playoffs because Demko's my number one goalie in our home league. Now I do have a nice lead right now. I'm looking pretty darn good. Going into week 2 here with what do we have? 4 nights left after this.
Yep.
But I sure could use Demko starting next week in the championship. The Sabres are, like we said, they're playing the best hockey of the season. You wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
think so. They're going to do that considering, again, I wouldn't say they sold off, but they definitely weren't buyers, right? They definitely weren't buyers at all. They didn't do a whole lot to actually help themselves other than the fact that now look at their blue line. You got Bowen Byram, you actually got Rasmus Dahlin, and you have Owen Power. Could you imagine having those 3 guys on the blue line, JT, those 3 young defensemen? Um,
Fantastic.
pairing them actually with a young stud, like Tage Thompson as well. You got Dylan Cousins. Again, we said it. This is the second time I'll say it in this podcast. Love what Buffalo is actually doing. They're just got a young goaltender in Devin Levi, who again, and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who's been amazing this year. Their goaltending's young. Their defense is actually young. Once they actually figure it out, they have the offense actually go with it. I just think Buffalo, their trajectory is that's where I want the Hawks to kind of go. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly what they've actually done. And I think the Hawks will do that. There's only one equalizer though. The Hawks actually have Connor Bedard, and not many other teams, maybe a handful of teams can say they have a player of that caliber at that young. And Bedard right now, 53 points in 54 games. He's a point per pace. He's not going to end up getting, 82 points because he's not going to end up making 82 games because he was hurt because of the broken jaw. But he's been awesome. So here's what I'm going to do, JT, to get back to Vancouver. I'm going to go ahead and do the um, over 6. I'm going to go ahead and do the both teams to score a goal in the first period. I do
Ooh, like
think
it.
that the Smith, he has not been good as of late as well. Buffalo is actually desperate. They need to come out and they need to pounce immediately. Every game actually counts right now. You saw how close it is with Detroit right now, and then if you can end up getting the Canucks on the money line, put all the 3 of those together, you can probably get it around plus 250. I love that right there. So again, Canucks on the money line, the over 6.5, and both teams actually score a goal in the first period. Because I believe the Buffalo tonight, they're going to go ahead and go in goal. It's not going to be, is it Levi? Let's see here. They haven't actually, it's got to be Levi because Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and UPL actually went. So it's going to be Levi on the back to back. Levi just got back from an AHL stint. He's actually been fairly good down there. Young goaltender, tons of talent, but I just think there are going to be plenty of goals in this game.
Toast. We got our first check mark of the night. But ding! Nathan McKinnon assists. Got a point. Boom. Already on the board. Avalanche up 1-0. Mikko Rantanen, the goal. McKinnon and Makar with assists. So there's the early
Makar.
one there. I like that. And then
So,
let's talk about
JT,
if people
we
are
should mention,
jumping.
yeah,
I was gonna say real quick, if before as we're jumping talking about bets here, I know me and you are both big on this Edmonton game here late night against Canada, the Canadians. Why don't you jump in and tell that bet? Because people are jumping around putting in bets right now, watching the show. In
yeah,
case they want to parlay, I've got a little 3 team parlays combined in a same game parlay X for some nice money. If you're on DraftKings, I will let you know, jump in there and look at the boost. They have an up to 100% boost on
hmm
the amount of bets you put in for same game parlays, and they're letting you put them in for a same game parlay X. So if you put 2 or 3 same game parlays together, you can put it in 100% boost that thing. I know, Toach, you got a monster one in today. I've got one in that is, oh, it's up to 3470 plus 3470.
Woo.
I loved it today. So that's my Avalanche, my Canucks, and my Oilers bet. Jump in here and tell them what we're thinking about on the Oilers today.
Yeah. So we've been riding the over Oilers 2.5 team total goals, the money line, and also McDavid an assist. What I will say tonight is that finally the draft books wisened up and they no longer, this could be a positive though. They no longer offer McDavid at over 1 assist. They got him at 1.5 assists. But now, if you think about it, that's plus 160 instead of minus 245. So again, I mean, McDavid, most times or not, he's going to get you 2 assists in a night. Most times. He's got 81 assists right now. He's actually vying to become the fourth player in NHL history to actually have over 100 assists. And he's 18 away, I believe, with probably, what do we have, 16, 17 games. And he actually missed
Yeah.
4 or 5 games in the season early on. And that week and a half there, really early in the season, I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to get to 100. So right now, that assist thing, over 1.5 assists at plus 160, against the right matchup, and I believe tonight's the right matchup versus the Canadians at home, that's going to be easy money. All right, that's going to be easy money. But here's what I did tonight. Just to again, I don't want to put the lotto ticket out there, and I want to make sure I actually win. All right, so I got the Oilers at home on the puck line minus 1.5. All right, so the Canadians have been playing better of late. When I say better of late, closer games of late. But if you actually look at it, if I remember right, they've actually only won 4 games since like February 6th. 4. That's it. Odds they're not going to win tonight. And odds are it could end up, if it's close, it's going to be an empty goal situation at the end of the night, empty net. They're going to get another one. I love the puck line there. The puck line, I believe, is actually minus 114, somewhere around there. Oilers. Normally, I like to take them at over 2.5 team goals. Tonight, 3.5 team goals. Again, the Oilers actually came off a really tough game, JT, versus Colorado in their last game out. That was a playoff game, man. They lost 3-2 in overtime, hosting Colorado. Colorado is so awesome. They're amazing. But I just think the Oilers are going to come out actually just really fired up. They're going to actually want to pump somebody. So over 3.5 team goals. You got Oilers on the puck line. And then instead of going McDavid over 2 assists, let's be safe. He's always a threat to score the puck as well. And he's actually been scoring some more goals of late than he actually did early on in the season. So I went McDavid over 1.5 points. So again, McDavid over 1.5 points. The Oilers actually over 3.5 goals, and the Oilers on the puck line 1.5. That is plus 132. Whenever the Oilers are at home, you have to actually consider taking the over them on the money line, them over 2.5 goals, and McDavid at anyone. That I've been winning that about an 85% rate over the last month and a half. And they're at home versus an opponent that it's not nearly superior as they are. You have to jump on that bet. You have to take advantage of it, and you got to go pretty heavy on it. And that's what I've done tonight.
Yeah, Oilers are minus 400. So it's like you got to figure out a way to even those odds out. You're not going to take a minus 400. That's just ridiculous. So yeah, taking that plus 132. Like I said, if you're looking to add a few of these together and pile it up for that bonus bet on DraftKings, you can take the plus 182 in the Vancouver Blues game and add the plus 132 in the and Edmonton's game. Like I said, Avalanche are already running too. So we've got a couple games that we've already bet on. They're actually active and going right now. Well, you always can jump in if you like one or two of those things we said to you. You always can jump in and kind of and parlay of those in a live bet. So don't ever forget about that. Being able to jump in and do some live bets on those things. If anybody's out there is watching, got any bets they like tonight, feel free to comment, send them over to us. We'd love to talk about any bets you guys like out there. So feel free to send those to us as well. Toast, going in the next and get back into kind of talking things feel like they're really heating up out west. I feel like the Avalanche are really starting to show like they are gonna be, if not the team, one of the top teams to deal with. We've been on Dallas all year. We like Dallas. Winnipeg had a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of a rough stretch. They're still in first place with 91 points. Colorado's got 91. Dallas is 91. And then you got Vancouver on the other side with 92 and Edmonton, who we talked about being probably the most disappointing in the league early in the year until they switched coaches and kind of got together. They got 84 points. But I tell you what, Edmonton's that team you always say, "Hey, man, they're flashy in the regular season. They're not going to come through in the playoffs. You know to bet against them.
Yep.
They're starting to look a little bit different this year. This West side is gonna be wild come playoff time."
Yeah, and you got to think. Gosh, you mentioned JT, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Colorado, and Dallas are all up there 92, 91, 91, and 91 points. Colorado is actually separating themselves right now over the last 2 weeks as
Mm.
being the best team in the entire league. That McKinnon, I cannot believe that McKinnon assist. It's at minus 185 right now. Okay, is that great odds? Nope. That should be minus 245. They should have actually bumped him up to 1.5 right now, at plus 114 and 115. The fact that they actually had that under minus 200 for an assist is a joke. He's going to be the Hart Trophy winner. Colorado, McCarr is finally healthy. He's actually skating around the ice looking great. The new addition of actually Casey Middlestat as well. They get Nichushkin actually back from Player Assistance Program. And they still got Mikko Rantanen, and then Arturi Lehkonen is actually healthy as well. There's too much there, man. There's just way too much talent there. They're loaded. They're probably now they got to be the favorite to win the cup. But another team I'm going to tell you about, JT, as well. You mentioned the West. Don't count out Vegas. All right, Vegas actually won last year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the defending champion. They know how to get and play any type of game they want to. What I say is, again, in the playoffs, you got to have steady goaltending. It's almost like, again, running the football right, playing good defense when you're actually in NFL. No different here. You got to actually be pretty stingy between the blue lines, actually have really good goaltending, and really have superstar play. And what I'll say is Jack Eichel's finally back. He's finally healthy. He even actually came back and he was out a couple more games and whatnot. You get a healthy Eichel like they did last year. Aiden Hill's finally back in goal. They've been leaning on Logan Thompson a little bit, but Aiden Hill is really the better goaltender. He's finally back as well. They're finally, besides having Mark Stone out right now, because he's an aging veteran. He's usually out here and there, and hopefully he'll be back for playoffs and whatnot. They're as healthy as they've actually been. And just think that Vegas at 79 points, they've not been that great. Vegas is a playoff team. They're built for the playoffs, is what I'm saying. So I saw in a sports book, to win a cup right now, you can get the defending champion Vegas at plus 1100. I mean, so that's probably your best play if you want to get the best price. But if you can get Colorado anywhere like plus 400, plus 500 right now, man, they're humming. And they're just so unbelievably good. They even got a young backup goaltender that's actually, really doing well. It actually kind of spells Georgiev every once in a while. So you can't say enough about Colorado.
Well, Toast, since you bring it up, I have the odds right in front of me here on DraftKings. Let's jump in to the Stanley Cup champion odds where we're at. Vegas is
Let's do
loving
it.
the Florida Panthers. Florida Panthers right now, plus 650 is the best odds to win it. Edmonton, because the role they've been on, are plus 750. Avalanche, plus 750. I freaking love
That's the
that.
play.
Plus
That's the play.
750. Avalanche right now. Hurricanes are plus 750. Bruins at plus 900. Rangers plus 1,000. Stars plus 1,000, which that was me and your pick earlier in the year. So I still don't mind plus
Yep.
1,000 there. Canucks are plus 1,200. The Golden Knights plus 1,200. And Winnipeg plus
Wow.
1,400. And the Maple Leafs plus 1,400. Right now, those are the top 7 or 8 to win it. There's some good odds there, Toast. I kind of like Avalanche at plus 750. I like the Stars at plus 1,000. And like you said, if you're going the longest odds, you want to just throw $10 on it. The Golden Knights at plus 1,200 is pretty nice.
I would actually do a little bit better than that, JT. And I know it sounds a little bit crazy because I'm more of a conservative gambler. But I would take a 750 team, a plus 750 team, and actually a plus 1,200 team, and I put $50 on each one of them, and just ride those three. All right, and actually let those go ahead and be. I mean, Colorado at plus 750. Are you serious? That's insane. I know a lot could actually happen come playoff time, right? They've been there. They've actually done that. They may get Gabriel Landeskog, their captain, back for the playoffs. JT, the guy we've been sitting on in our dynasty league for 2 seasons and a $7 million contract. But that's too good to pass up. I'm going to be getting on plus 750 tonight. I'm going to do that. I'm also going to go ahead and sprinkle a little bit on Vegas as well, and Carolina. Those three. And again, I know we've been talking about Dallas all year. I love Dallas. They're great, but the way
I'm already on them
Carolina's
for the
actually
year.
going, the way they've actually added it. Yeah. I mean, the way Carolina added at the deadline, the way Colorado added at the deadline, and the way Vegas has actually got a little bit more healthy as the deadline, those are teams that actually year in and year out, they're cup contenders. You know they're actually going to be there, close to being there at the actual end. With those odds, I would just pick those three teams and sprinkle quite a bit on them. Just go ahead and take your $100, split it up three ways and do it.
Yeah, if you wanted to get on just who to win each conference, you weren't set on them winning the cup. Obviously, winning the cup is better odds. But right now, to win the East, uh, Florida is 330 plus 330, Carolina plus 380, Boston plus 450, Rangers plus 500, Maple Leafs plus 700. On the West, we've got Edmonton plus
Keep
350, Avalanche plus 350, Stars plus 500, Canucks 600, Knights 600, and Jets plus 700.
You got to think the Knights at plus 600 is pretty good. Say the East one again, JT. I missed those last couple, and those. Yeah, say the East again.
Yep. So on the East, we've got the Panthers plus 330, the Hurricanes plus 380, the Bruins plus 450, the Rangers plus 500, and the Maple Leafs plus 700. And if you wanted an outlier, a team that's just in the playoff hunt right now is the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're plus 1200.
Yeah, the Lightning are dead. They're not going to do it. They just
Mhm.
they're not the same team. They had their run. It's borderline a dynasty. You could actually say, you know what, it is a dynasty. If somebody told me it was a dynasty, I would say you're probably right. But they're done right now. So I would say instead of betting the who's going to come out of the conference, uh, bet the champion. There's just way better odds. I like bet the champion a lot more because those odds for the conference final there between, let's say, Carolina and Florida as well, they're just too close. They're just way too close. But
Mhm.
boy, it's hard to go against Florida as well. I mean, they can play a shootout game with you. They can actually play a slowdown game with you. Bobrovsky's actually, ever since last year in the playoffs, he's been great. Since then, he's been great. That $10 million contract that he has, man, people used to think, my gosh, what a disaster. Not anymore. Look at him, man. I mean, they're riding that guy. He's and Kachuk has been on an absolute tear since right before the All Star break, and he's kept that up as well. That's a fun team, and I never thought in a million years that Sam Reinhart would actually continue what he's actually done, but he's going to hit over 50 goals this year. And then Sasha Barkov is one of the best two-way players in the entire league. So, yeah, you can't argue. You can't argue with Florida. JT, I will say the Flyers are up now 3-0 on the Maple Leafs. The Leafs, uh, they can't do it. They can't do it. They don't have the goaltending still. I'm not saying Samsonov's actually played bad. Wool, the rookie's been banged up most of the year. He's kind of back. He's going to be a really good goaltender. You know, they're loaded on offense or whatnot right now. But man, and the Flyers are difficult to go in and play in their place. And it's 3-0. But you just I just the Leafs don't have what it takes, and there's a lot of people. I listen to a podcast now, or a couple of Leafs fans. They're huge Leafs fans, and they would agree with you. They're very exciting. They're a really good team, but just don't really have what it takes to actually come April, May, and June. I just don't like the Leafs, and I tell you what, I'd actually probably pick the Flyers for. I'd actually pick the Leafs in the playoffs.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is I don't know a lot of books that do it, but if you can find a book that takes it, bet I love to always put on in the Super Bowl is is the matchup. The matchup bet, you can get some crazy good odds if you pick the right matchup and then pick the winner. So they don't have anything like that up right now on DraftKings and FanDuel that I can see. But as you get closer to the playoffs or as the playoffs set, a lot of times when the playoffs get set, you can bet this bet in. So take a look at it in whatever book you're using, see if they have it. But pick the playoff, the Stanley Cup final matchup. If I could get Avalanche versus the Hurricanes, I'm
Oh
thinking you're
man,
probably going to get like a plus 1200, plus 1500 if you pick the exact matchup. For those, I would love the Avalanche Hurricanes. I definitely sprinkle some money on that. Um, if you are on the Stars, like I still like the Stars, and you like Stars,
I
a,
do too.
A Stars Rangers matchup would be pretty interesting. So, if that's something that interests you, take a look right when the playoffs get settled. A lot of times you'll see those matchups jump in on certain books, and I love to just take a little bit of money and sprinkle it on a few different matchups that I love. In addition to taking whoever I think will win the cup.
Yeah, JT, I that's a great point. Again, I just think you need to take a set amount of money and sprinkle a little bit of on all these things we're actually mentioning. But I do think the spiciest ones, of course, and they should be, right. The fact that to win it all should be the highest odds. But again, don't just go with one team. If you're going to go that route, you need to pick three teams, and you actually need to do it equally. But I love that idea you actually had there. Go ahead and pick in the matchup, or maybe even picking teams to actually reach the cup final or reach the conference final, right? And
Mhm.
you can probably get those at plus 500 or 600 just to get there. That's probably a good one as well. JT, you were talking about live betting the Rangers a little while ago. What the Jets decided to go ahead and shut that down. Mark Scheifele's actually
Oh, yeah.
scored 2 goals tonight. Kyle Connor, your guy, actually scored another goal as well. So now it's 3-1 Winnipeg going in close to the end of the second period there. Again, the Rangers are another team that reminds me of the Maple Leafs. Again, super talented. The only difference is the Rangers actually have really, really good goaltending. But that goaltending has actually not been nearly as reliable this year with their number one because they've had to rely on Jonathan Quick as their number two to kind of pick up the pace a little bit. The Rangers, again, they've been talented for some time now. They haven't been actually a chance to be able to get over the hump. They remind me again a lot of the Leafs as well. I just don't see them actually doing it. I would never actually bet them to actually get to the final, especially at that price. I believe that price you had mentioned right now, JT, it's somewhere around plus 500, plus 600, something like that to make the final. There's just other teams with a better price out there. And then look at the Blues. The Blues right now are actually tied with the Avalanche. 2 minutes left in the first period, 1-1. How did the Blues do it? We say every single podcast the Blues aren't supposed to be any good. They're about equivalent to Washington. But now I've got to accept the fact that I hate the Blues as well. They're good. They're a good team.
Mhm.
JT, I'm going to look at the standings here real quick in the division. The Blues are in a wild card. They are 4 points out of the final wild card, actually battling with Vegas. They're not going to catch Nashville because Nashville is the hottest team in hockey right now. With Vegas, probably not going to catch Vegas either. But again, with 14 games to go, you never know. They're playing their best hockey this season. Minnesota is the team right behind St. Louis that I actually thought would actually go ahead and do it. They had their run, and they're still actually playing pretty good hockey. But beyond that, Calgary, Seattle, nobody else. It's St. Louis and Minnesota versus Vegas. Those three teams are the only teams in the West that actually have a shot at that last wild card.
Yeah, Toast. I put this in our Toast takes, our Total Apex Sports bets article. I think it was last week. One of the few teams I'm taking unders on is St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're winning, it's very spread out between who's scoring there. So there's a lot of times you'll get like under a half a point, under a point, where you can get some decent odds on some guys when they get a little bit in a cold streak. So that's the one thing I will say about St. Louis. While they're playing well, betting props, fantasy wise, they don't have a lot of guys that are just putting up points and scoring. So they're a good team that you can actually take to win or cover, play close games. I think my bet last week was, I think I took the goals under. I took who was it? I took under shots and I took an under points on a few of the different players because they just that I mean that's the way this team has played this year. I took Shen under shots and I took like um Pyru under points.
Yes, that's
And it's
right.
just
You
it
hit
just
that
hits
one.
because it's just like they've been so intermittent between when these guys are getting enough shots, getting points. It's every couple games. It's not, every other game. It's like 1 out of 5 games they're getting a point. So it's not that they don't score. They're just not a high scoring team. I mean, Thomas has 73 points to lead the Blues. The next two highest guys are Kyrou at 50 points and Bunevich,
Buchnevich.
I always jack his name
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
Buchnevich, he's at 52 points. And
Yeah.
then the next highest guy after that is Krug with 34 and Shen with 33. They're just not a high scoring
Yeah.
team. These guys just don't put a bunch of points on the board. They play solid, but nobody's coming out. They're not like the rest of the guys we're betting on usually. So Definitely when they play tough matchups, I like to go under on a lot of the Blues stuff.
Yes, yes. That's a you know what? Hey, good goaltending night from the Blues, JT. They're going to end that first
And that's
period,
been
and they
solid.
yeah,
And
and
that's
they
been
the
them
Avs
good
got,
goaltending.
got got 16 shots on goal. I mean, so they're actually pacing right now for close to 50 shots on goal for the night. The Blues are actually winning right now with playing a pretty tight game, like you said. Good goaltending. Jordan Bennington's actually bounced back. He's had a very, very good second half of the season, and really a decent season overall after really having a pretty shaky season, a couple seasons at best since they actually won a cup. But I expect the Avalanche in that one here. I was hesitant to actually really get on the Avalanche money line tonight to do that Avs money line, the Avs over 2.5 goals, and then McKinnon the assist, mainly because again the Blues being at home, and actually the Blues actually being a pretty tough out, and the Blues are actually fighting for a playoff spot right now, and so they're going to want it. They're going to want it bad. Um, JT, let's talk a little bit about right now about the assist prop that we actually put in tonight, and a lotto pick, if you will. Uh, if you have it in front of you, great. If not, I can actually rattle it off. But nevertheless, I
Yeah,
want to
pull it
talk.
up. I don't have it in front of me right
Well, I want
now.
to talk first about just assists in general. Um, so I love betting assists. Goal scoring is difficult, right? I mean, so there's only a handful of guys that actually score. Let's say oh 45 goals in a season, and you're actually looking at that on pace, that's a half a goal a night, right? So a goal every other game. It's not a guarantee, but you have probably 7, 8 guys that actually pace over 70, 65 assists to 70 assists. You're looking at probably closer to 3/4 of an assist per game or 2 assists every 3 games. And it's a much easier one to predict, and you get odds that are very similar in some cases, especially with guys that have actually come up maybe on line one or power play one that usually actually maybe play power play two, getting great deployment, and you actually got an assist there, and they're a pass first, shoot second type of guy, and you can get the assist maybe like at plus 165, 170. And their goals actually to score a goal is only like at plus 220. There's only a plus 50 differential there. I'm like, well, the assist, right? The assist. So I follow teams like or players like Marchand for an assist, Sebastian Aho for an assist, of course McDavid and McKinnon and Kucherov for assists as well. Those are easy. I mean, those are just if you actually get the right matchups, wait for them to actually get home and play a far less superior team. Those are gimmies, and you're going to actually pay a lot of juice, but they're going to go because that's when they actually just reap the assists versus the other teams. Also, loving playing assists from like Artemi Panarin as well. Panarin's actually been scoring the puck a lot more this year than normal, but nevertheless, he's been great. Mitch Marner, when Mitch Marner's actually healthy, he gets a ton of assists. He's been actually on the shelf over the past, I don't know, 2 weeks, what a week and a half, 2 weeks. But look at assists. Another assist guy, Kirill Kaprizov has been scoring the puck a ton right now. He's on a tear. He might be the hottest player in hockey over the past month, but he's so hot, he's getting a ton of assists as well. And then JT Miller, your guy JT Miller, we talked about JT. We actually have him on our parlay tonight for an assist. So again, think about assists. If you think about the money you're actually or the price that you're actually betting on there, really the assists are really the way to go. They are. Um, the assist prop tonight, JT. We got Jack Eichel tonight with an assist. We got JT Miller for an assist. We got Connor McDavid for 2 assists. We got McKinnon for an assist. Check. That one's actually went off. We actually have Sebastian Aho for an assist. Surprising enough, they're up 3-0. He has not have an assist yet. We have Panarin for an assist. Has not actually happened. That again, that's 3-1 after one there. That's a little bit of a shocker. And we also end up having Brad Marchand for an assist. And they also have 3 goals and no assists from Marchand either. And that's even more surprising with Pasternak having 2 goals in that game.
2 goals.
So,
Exactly.
so we're a little stake bitten tonight. It hasn't really happened, but I'm going to continue to do this because the assists are the way they go.
So I got a quick live bet for everybody out there right now. Jump on it right now. Detroit Red Wings minus 130 money line, Avalanche minus 195, Nashville Predators minus 1.5, minus 120, 3-pick parlay plus 390 right now in these
Ooh.
games. Everyone is tied up currently, all tied up currently. We've got a couple intermissions right now. I'm jumping on that one plus 390 live right now. Red Wings money line, Avalanche money line, Nashville Predators minus 1.5 in a game that they're at home 1-1 against San Jose that they've been dominating so far, but it's tied 1-1. I'm jumping on the minus 1.5, getting that to plus 390 on DraftKings currently.
Yeah, that is that's the way to win right there. Nashville's going to win that game. All right, UC Saros for Nashville. They've been nothing short of spectacular. Again, the hottest team in hockey over the past couple weeks. There's a reason why it's 1-1 and they're at home and it's a minus 410 still. Again, the Sharks are one of the second worst team in the league behind the Blackhawks, but nevertheless, the Predators will win that game. And then, how do you bet against the Avs? Again, I understand St. Louis is desperate. I get that,
Mhm.
but for the price, JT, for the price, right? The Avs, probably the best team in the league on the road, tied 1-1. That's a great bet. And again, we understand how desperate Detroit is for a win right now. They have to have a win. So those together at plus 360 or 390, whatever you said, that's great. That's great price. Go ahead and gamblers out there. If you got $20, $15 to go ahead and sprinkle there, go ahead and do it. You can turn your 20 into actually 50 more and actually win
If I
70.
got,
That's the way to
yeah, I
go.
got 20, 25 to win 122 right now.
Ooh, that's
25 to
phenomenal.
win 122 right there. So I like
So
that
risking
move.
25 to get in 100 more. JT, you go ahead and lead the next topic here. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put that one in right now.
Yeah, jump into that one. So, for the last little bit of the segment here, we're going to talk about kind of fancy hockey. So, depending on what your league is and how you do it, our home league, we do 2-week playoffs because hockey is just it's such a grind. It feels like 1 week is not enough to do justice in fancy playoff hockey. So, this is something maybe you want to bring up with your commissioner and see what they think about it. But we've shortened our season and we've gone to a 2-week playoffs all throughout the playoffs because I just feel like, with 1 week, the amount of games that can be played, a team can totally get the shaft on certain on really losing out on total games played. I feel like 2 weeks evens it out more. So that's something me and Toast in our home league that we implemented a couple years ago. I think it's actually been uh, very good. I think people in the league have liked it because you're really getting the best team winning as opposed to someone getting really lucky just with injuries and just not enough plays. So we've gone to the 2-week playoff system. Me and Toes are still in a couple leagues where they only do one league playoffs. So we're in a few of those one league playoff games where we're like right on the verge of the playoffs and we haven't got in there yet, but we're coming down the final stretch. Toast, tell me why you like the 2-week playoff system. I know I just explained how we went into it for our home league. Tell me why you like 2 weeks for the playoffs in fantasy hockey.
Yeah, I like it, JT, for the same reason I would actually like it in basketball, and for the same reason I would actually like it in baseball, because it comes down to schedule. It comes down to
Mhm.
number of games, right? So you don't have to worry about that at the NFL. Everybody's going to play week 17. Everybody's going to play week 16, whatever your playoffs are, week 15. You know, you don't have to worry about that. There's the buys are done by then, but here you need 2 weeks to shake out the schedule. And that's the main reason why I actually do 2 week long playoffs. And it's not really just to say, hey, we want to go ahead and make sure that the favorite really has the best chance to win because we need it to be 2 weeks long and they need to get their guys going. If they have an off game, it really comes down to schedule. And really, if you think about that too, goalie starts. It'd be no different in baseball with pitcher starts, right? You're hoping in a 2 week matchup, you could actually get two pitcher starts for your number one pitcher instead of just one. It's the same thing with goalies. You actually have, let's say, 7 games, and you actually have three back to backs in those 7 games. Well, your top goalie's going to get 4 starts. The other one's actually going to get 3, and you need time to actually work the waiver wire, all of that kind of stuff. So, um, I'm going to urge like all new managers out there, or even existing managers, really consider doing a 2 week playoff matchup, especially if you're going to do the championship week, right? I mean, 2 weeks. You may have to go ahead and shorten your regular season by a couple weeks. I know we only do 19 weeks for the regular season. There's some other seasons ones I've actually play out there. I play like Keeping Carlson is another great podcast. That's kind of how I got into podcasting, just listening to Keeping Carlson hockey podcast. But they do 22 weeks, and I'm in their Discord league. But then they only do 3 1 week matchups. It's really, and it's a redraft league as well. Guys, we're throwing darts, right? You're throwing darts. Heck, I was 13th out of 14th in that league this year. 13th out of 14th. That's mainly because we had guys setting lineups at 2 a.m. and picking up guys that setting our alarms at 2 a.m. all season long. I'm like, all right, I'm pretty diehard, but not that diehard. So I am actually in the semifinals of our home league. Got a lead right now, hoping to actually make the finals. And I'm also actually in Dauber Hockey's inaugural dynasty league, where they have 3 leagues and 18 teams per league, and I won the regular season in my league, and I'm also in the final as well, and that's a 2-week playoff. They did it right. They understood that, and 2-week playoffs was the way to go. But again, JT, it just comes down to letting that schedule average out a little bit. Let's not actually penalize somebody because the playoffs happen to fall in the wrong week and they have nobody playing. I mean, that's just not going to do anybody any good.
Yeah, a couple suggestions I always tell for leagues. I love the 2-week playoffs for exactly every reason you just said. The other thing is if you're worried about not having the season run as long, I'm always a fan of cutting out the last week of the season for sure. I don't know how many leagues me and you lost, Toast, where we actually were dominating, made the finals, and all our players were on awesome teams, and they sat the last week of the year because they were all set on their playoff spots. All our goalies sat. They rested everybody, and we're like, how did we not win this league? We dominated all year.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing for me. Last week, at least, some leagues 2 weeks. You kind of want to cut out the last 2 weeks in leagues at a time. Um, and if you want to keep more regular season weeks, you could always cut your playoffs down to just 4 teams from 6. You
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to have the bye week for the 1 and 2 seed. You can go, and I'm in a couple leagues like that where it's just the 4 teams make the playoffs. I'm in a couple leagues where it goes first best record, second best record, third best record, and then overall points. So they'll do it like those are the 4 teams that make the playoffs. Number 1 seed plays the most overall points. Number 2 plays 3. So that's obviously a way you can do it as well.
Yeah, and JT, you hit it right on the head there. Don't be afraid to actually, avoid those last 2 to 3 weeks of the season. I mean, that's going to be the way to go. I mean, I really don't actually want to get in there and have people playing on the second to the last week of a season, especially when the season ends on like a Thursday and you're playing the week
Mhm.
before. Lots of people sitting. They've got stuff wrapped up. It's not like NBA where guys are just loafing around and actually getting paid a gazillion dollars to do much of nothing. Like, I don't want to play or whatever. The NHL is not like that. But it will come down to the last 3, 4 games of the regular season where they will sit some people, especially if it's wrapped up pretty good.
Mhm. Yeah, we've seen that before. And, me and you we're fighting hard in our dynasty salary cap league right now to make the playoffs. We've had a lot of injuries, a lot of stuff. Just it seems like every week we score a ton, we go against the highest scoring team. It's been a little bit of a mess, but we keep talking about it. We just got to make the playoffs. We've got some talent. If we can get in, we can sneak in the playoffs. We've got a shot to make a move. And last year, I thought we were guaranteed to go back to back and we got upset. It was rough. But I'm hoping we sneak in this year because we're right there in the mix. Points scored, we're right up there with the tops and the top teams in the league. I mean, and this is what I always saw. This is another one I'm going to bring up real quick. Play median scoring in your leagues.
Hmm.
If you can do it, play median scoring. Because here's a perfect example. Right now, while the leading team in our league is 18-3, they have 5,287 points. We right now are 12-9. We have 5,215 points. They've outscored us by 72 points, and they have 6 more wins than us. 6 more wins and 72 points difference. So you look at that. I mean, you're looking at not many points difference there, like less than 10 a week. So I always like to say that median scoring, it can be tough to talk people in your league to doing it. I am absolutely trying to talk my baseball league into doing median scoring. And
Yeah.
they're very like old school and they don't want to do it. But I'm like, hey, if you score the second highest most points of the week, you still get a win as opposed to going 0-1. You can still go 1-1 for basketball, baseball, and hockey. I think medium scoring is the way to go. I'm in some football leagues that do it, and I don't mind it in the football leagues either. But I think
Yep.
for basketball, hockey, and baseball, you got to have median scoring just because of the difference with how many games are played every week. I mean, you could have your studs go off and they just play a short schedule, you lose, even if
Yep.
you put up good points, you're out. So that's definitely something that I'm going to keep, banging the table about. That leagues need to adjust that and make that change. I like that we've moved that in our league. I think it makes more sense. I think we've had better teams come out on top a lot of the time. Everybody likes a good upset story, but you hate to see a team just get upset because all their guys are sitting and somebody else just throws a bunch of random players in. So again, you want to reward people for, you know, obviously the randomness of fantasy is kind of fun, but you want to reward people that have built a good team and played well all season long.
Yes, yes, and JT, I got bad news for you. Playoffs already started. We didn't make it.
Ah,
So
we missed my one.
uh,
Oh, you're right. I was like looking
yeah.
at it. We were one
Well,
away.
and we well, I say we did make it, but we just did not actually advance or whatnot. We got beat in the quarterfinals,
Oh,
269 to
we did barely.
257.
Oh, I did see that. You're
But
right. We got this. Yes, God, just got clipped.
we maximized all of our starts. They had 10 more starts than we did. And that's what won it. That's what won it. And it was a and again,
And what do we
it
lose
was a
by
1
10?
week
Less than
playoff.
10?
What's that?
I said, what do we lose? We lost by like less than 10, didn't
Yeah,
we?
yeah,
It was
yeah. We
something. It was
lost by
really
12
close.
points. 12 points, and actually had two guys or 10 less starts. And if you look at the roster right now, um, banged up, Hurdle, Larkin, Sealer, of course, Landeskog. We had him all year. Chinikov has actually been hurt as well. Marino was actually banged up, and you're talking about a 60-man roster. That's huge right there. And again, it was only 1 week. It's 1 week.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, and again, I'm not going to like bash and say, hey, if you're not playing 2 weeks, you're dumb or whatnot. I prefer 2 weeks. That's all. I prefer
Yep.
2 weeks. But
Just to
it's
try to
nice when
even
you're in a
things
bunch of
out.
leagues that have variety, right? They have
Yeah.
variety. So some are 1 week, and that's completely fine. Some are cap league. Some are actually dynasty. Some are redraft. It's good to have a little bit of variety there. But I would imagine if we end up having 2 weeks there and actually been a little bit healthy, we would have actually been the better team there. We were snake bitten down a stretch. We did not actually play well. We were injured a lot. I mean, we were pretty banged up. I even think I contacted you saying, hey, should we sell off? And you're like, well, let's hold off one bit. I'm not going to say we
I
should have
was in
actually
the
sold
hold.
off,
I was in the
but
hold mode, but you're right. You're right. We probably should have
but
made
we
some moves,
got
but I still we were
we're
there.
great on the cap in this league. Absolutely phenomenal on the cap. We got Yuri Kulich as a 19-year-old. We got Frank Nazar as a 20-year-old. We got Adam Beckman on our rookie as well. And we also have Oliver Moore from Chicago. So we got a really nice young core. We got Alex Lafreniere, the 22-year-old we actually traded for. Kucherov is still only 30 years old. Tim Stützle, 22. Lucas Raymond, 21. Hendrix Lapierre, we actually talked about him last week, 22 years old. We're set up for the long haul, and we actually have a very good on the cap. We're doing great on the cap. So I expect to be back. We have all of our picks as well. So yeah, it's the way it goes. But Nylander is one guy, JT, that really kind of cooled off for us in the last 3-4 weeks. He went on an unbelievable tear there for a bit, and just kind of it wasn't playing bad, but just not on the pace he actually was earlier. So
Yeah.
it all just kind of came against us there in the last 3-4 weeks.
Yeah. All right, we're right at the hour mark here. Thanks for joining us, everybody, tonight. We appreciate it. If you missed those bets we put in, we talked about earlier, the Sabres, Canucks, and the Oilers Canadian bets are on our Twitter page on X. Go to at JT Brew Stew, at Toast Clark, or at JT Orange. We post all on all three of those pages. So go ahead and check those out. Hopefully, you got in on some of those live bets, and hopefully, we'll be winners by the end of the night. Any final closing thoughts from you, Toast?
Yeah, the one thing I'll say, JT, is went ahead and went fairly heavy on that 3-leg parlay we talked about. Wings just give up a goal, and it's 3-2 with 14 minutes left in the third period there. Blue Jackets are out shooting them 32-15. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable to be outshot 32-15 at home versus Columbus, of all people, when you're absolutely desperate and hanging on. That tells me the Wings, they really well could actually be dead. They could be done. If they
Yeah, it
lose this
did.
game tonight and they're getting outplayed and outshot the way they are, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen at that point.
Yeah, I'm hoping they pull it out, but if not, you're like you said, they've got a pretty tough schedule coming up. If they lose this Columbus game, it might be it for them. Uh, Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate everybody tuning in. A little off the cuff tonight, did a little something different. So check out Bryan Toast Clark at Toast Clark on Twitter on the X. I'm at JT Orange. Get on there, get us Toast Takes, our JT Parlay Play of the Day. If you get a chance, go subscribe to us, the Stew at JT Brew. Also, Total Apex Sports. You can check out them, follow them for all kinds of news content, and then get on Total Apex Sports Bets.com. That is where we put our daily bets on there. But we also put those again on Twitter and X. If you're on Twitter and X, you can do that as well. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. It's been a good one. You've been in the stew. See you later.